Hey guys, today I want to talk about this topic of accessories in tier 4. I've had so many people come up to me and say like, yo, this new accessory system is just way more RNG than the old one. They're adding more RNG into the game. I hate this, right? And I feel like there is a fundamental misunderstanding about the RNG of accessories in terms of the old ones versus the new ones, because I would actually argue that the old ones were way more RNG than the new ones. And I wanted to make this video to talk to you guys about that and show you guys my thinking. So everybody is trying to say that the new accessories are just like another form of bracelets, and bracelets are extremely RNG. And I would agree that there are many similarities that we can draw between bracelets and the new accessories. So the new accessories fundamentally work like this, right? You have an accessory that starts off at level 1, and that accessory comes with a already rolled stat line. It could be out of many stat lines, but the ones that we know are like attack power, additional damage, brand potency, CC duration, HP recovery during combat. So these are the things that we know, right? I'm sure there are many more. As you can see, the scroll bar over here is still going down, but these are the ones that we just know. So it starts off at level 1, comes with one of these affixes. Then as you hone it and level it up to level 1, 2, and 3, each level will give you an additional affix. So additional one of these, right? You know, attack power, additional damage, brand potency, etc. So that's fundamentally how accessories works, and it's very similar to bracelet in that every time you press the button, new stats come on, and you're trying to get the best stat, best affix possible. The old accessories, however, all just drop with everything fixed. There is no like rolling lines after you get the accessory. That is all determined the moment that it drops. So the first fundamental misunderstanding that people have is that there is no RNG with the old accessories, because there is plenty of RNG with the old accessories. But the thing is, the RNG comes when the accessories are dropped versus when you press the roll button, the hone button in this one. So both of them are still very RNG. If you think about it this way, and I've said this in the past, how often do you get a good accessory that you can sell on the market? Maybe if you're talking about like something that's 5K or less, something like 1K, 2K, something like that, that's maybe like once a week, maybe. And how often are you getting an accessory that's worth like 20K or something? Probably once a month, maybe even less than that. So as you can see, there is a huge variance and a huge level of RNG with getting an accessory that actually is able to be worth something, is able to use, and not only able to use, how often is it able to be used by you? Pretty much never. You're never ever getting an accessory that's really able to be used by you, because one, you've probably built your character already, or two, the accessory that drops is not with engravings that are useful to you. So there's plenty of RNG that goes into accessories currently, just like in the future with our new accessory system. But I would argue that the RNG that we have for our current accessories is actually much worse than the RNG that we have for our future accessories. And here is why. So first off, there are 3 things that you need an RNG into. You need the quality, which, you know, for certain stats like spec, for example, if you don't have at least a certain level of quality for your character, you're pretty much doomed. You're not doing damage, and you're also probably having bad rotations, right? So for this, you have quality, and even for other stats, you don't want quality below like 60, 50, 40, whatever, right? For me personally, 75 plus is what I look for on rings. And that's only for like crit and swift. If I'm doing for spec, I'm going to want 85 plus. And then for earrings, I'd ideally want it like 90 plus at least. And same with necklaces. That's even more RNG there with like the stat distribution. You see what I mean, right? There is a lot of RNG that goes into the quality for one. And then next, there's also RNG when you roll into the right stats. You need to roll into the right stats, right? If you get everything correct, you get quality, you get engravings, but you don't get the right stat, you can't use that accessory. That accessory is not usable by anybody and it's not sellable. And then also, you need the engravings, lastly. So even if you have the quality, even if you have the stats, if you don't have the engravings, you can't sell that accessory. Pretty much, if there's one thing out of these three areas that is missing or very low, you can't even use or sell that accessory. And on top of that, we even think about the repercussions of accessories for our own classes, right? Because in these situations, a lot of times with our new system, we're actually going to be rolling these accessories for ourselves first. And then if they roll well, then we will be selling them, right? In the situation of accessories, the old ones that we're currently using, for the most part, we're not really looking for accessories for ourselves because our accessories are usually set by the time that we get to the end game. We actually don't really upgrade our accessories very often, especially not using our own drops. So when you think about it this way, dropping an accessory, if you're missing even one of these, right? Let's say you're not even at, you get the right engravings, but you don't have the right nodes. You have Grudge 5, Raid Captain 3. Well, I need a Grudge 6. That doesn't work with my build. I get an attack power and, maybe I need a minus move speed. If I don't get that, I can't use that, right? So for your own character, there's a ton of RNG that goes into it. And, a little bit less when you're thinking about selling it. But for your own character, there's a ton of RNG that goes into it that you don't have to think about at all with this system. Because anytime you roll into attack power, additional damage, right, that is usable by every single DPS class. You don't have to go for a specific set of engravings or a specific set of stat lines. You can just do this and it'll be usable by every single DPS class. So even on that level, there is less RNG that goes into this new accessory system because you don't actually have to worry about so many specific things. If you get one of those lines, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't even matter if it's attack power 30%, doesn't matter if it's 70%, 1.1%, like that will be useful for your class. Unlike over here, where if you get a lower engraving, Grudge 5 or Grudge 4 instead of Grudge 6, that might be completely unusable or unsellable. And then same with here, the quality. If you get a really low quality, that's pretty much unusable or unsellable. Whereas if you think about how bracelets work, right? Even if you get a lower level of attack power, or in your bracelet situation, lower level fervor, a lot of times when this happens, especially when you're first building your character, as long as you get anything that says fervor, you're extremely happy. You're not getting rid of that bracelet. That is a good bracelet for you. So unlike the old accessory systems where you get lower quality or lower engravings, even if you get a lower line of affixes, that a lot of times is still very useful. So rolling into an affix itself is already pretty dang good. You don't actually even need to roll into the higher level ones, right? So that in itself makes accessories in the new system a lot less RNG than the old system. And the consequences of getting a lower rolled affix is much lower. If you think about it this way, right? The attack power plus 30.3, that is going to be useful no matter where you are, as long as you don't have it from before. But if you think about it this way over here with our old accessory system, again, if we had a Grudge 5, for example, we don't have enough nodes to fill up our 5 by 3 by 1. We'd be missing a single node. We wouldn't get this last level, level 3. And we would lose an entire 10% damage to boss just because we are missing that one node. So there is zero way that the new accessory system is more RNG than our old accessory system. Now, to get to the maximum, the highest heights, right, it's going to be pretty hard to get there. To get to the best in slot, legendary everything, right? Legendary 3 attack power lines. Of course, that's going to be very, very hard. But nobody is expecting you to get that. But whereas with our accessories, everybody is expecting you to get a full 5 by 3 by 1 engraving setup by the time you're hitting like 1580, 1600, things like that. It's just way more extreme on the old one. We've just gotten so used to the old system that when we see this new system, we think to ourselves, oh my gosh, there's so much random rolling, there's so much random lines. This is terrible. But in reality, our old system is actually much, much worse than the new system in terms of RNG, because the old system, you literally have to get everything to align. You have to have the stars align. And in addition to that, you're really not ever going to find an upgrade to your accessories unless you're buying them from the market. Because everything, again, everything needs to line up. The stats, the engravings, the malice, the negative, like they all have to line up with what you're currently using, or else you need to completely rebuild your entire accessory setup for a new accessory that you found that's better than your old one, right? Unless everything lines up, you need to do that. But with the new accessory system, we actually have an opportunity to upgrade our accessories. It's just like our bracelets, right? When we get a new bracelet, we are happy to go roll those, even if we can't sell them on the market, because we can actually use the bracelets that we find to upgrade our current bracelet. Whereas, again, with the old system, we just couldn't do that. So with the new accessory system, you actually can find your own upgrades from here on out for your characters, because when you get a better accessory, you're just going to replace the old one, unlike the current system that we have right now. And in addition to that as well, you will still be able to sell these accessories much like the old system. If you want, for example, an attack power line and with additional damage, you could just go and find that in the market, much like the old accessory system. So we basically get everything that's good from the old accessory system of being able to interact with it in the market, unlike bracelets, and we get new things that are way better that fix problems that we used to have with our old accessory system. That is why the new accessory system, while not perfect, it's still much better than what we had before with our old accessory system. Now, there's also this thing about like potentially you could have 3 of the same line. I don't know if that's confirmed yet. Satan has it in his document that you can get 3 of the same line, but when I went back into his VOD when he was building the document out, he never actually showed any proof or anything like that you can. He was just sent a message by Les Boy. He's like, oh yeah, you can do that. Okay, cool. And he just puts it in there. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm trusting him on that one and saying that you can get all 3 of the same lines, but I'm just not sure about that. So that kind of leads me to talk about the next point, right? So when you're talking about the accessory system, a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, it's so much RNG to roll the right lines and everything. And eventually you're going to want to like, the best in slot is only 3 of these or something like that, right? Well, I think the other thing we need to keep in mind is that for these new accessories, we actually get a lot of power off of just one line. For example, if you think about it this way, right? Let's get rid of all these unnecessary things here. Let's open up a new layer. So let's say the 1.1% attack power, right, is the best line. And if you roll 3 of them, that is going to be the best in slot for your accessories. Well, if you think about bracelets, right? How easy is it to roll a 1-line bracelet? Let's say, your 2 stats, let's say crit spec, right? And then get a 1 line for fervor, circulate, battle, whatever, right? It's not that hard. So when you roll that 1 line, you actually are getting 33% efficiency, or 33% of the max power output of that accessory already. And then if you roll 2 lines, that is 66%, right? So you're actually getting quite a bit of power for, something that's pretty easy to roll. And maybe, you're like, well, rolling 2 attack powers is really hard. Well, let's say we don't roll an attack power. Let's say we roll additional damage, which according to our chart here, the best one's like 0.85, right? So we get 0.85 additional damage. And I don't have the full math out here, but 0.85 additional damage is going to be worse than 1.1% attack power. So let's just say maybe that, gives us 25% of it. So this is still a very good number, right? You're just about, what is it? 8% less damage as opposed to like this one. Again, the actual calculations aren't correct, but you know what I mean, right? You can still get a percentage of the best in slot lines even if you get something that's not as good. Whereas again, with our old system that we go back into, if you're missing out on anything, you're just not getting any reward for it. So there is just so much more possibility, so much more potential, and so much more ease of use when it comes to the new accessories compared to the old ones. So that's kind of it for this video. I just really wanted to, again, I make a lot of these videos about tier 4 right now because there's just so much doing out there. And I wanted to really break down each of these pieces that people are doing about and show people like, hey, there's actually not that much bad, or like it's not as bad as you think if you actually break it down and compare it to what we have. A lot of times, these situations that people are doing about, they just don't understand fundamentally how the system works and how it compares to our current system, because we've all gotten so used to our current systems, right? So we're all very comfortable with it. But with these new systems, they're brand new. We don't know about them. We're just like, we don't want change. We don't want this, right? It's way worse. But then if you break it down and think about it logically, you can see a lot of these new systems are actually much more beneficial to every single person in the game. Let me know down in the comment section if this video made sense and if it helped convince you or let you kind of think more positively about the new accessory system compared to the old one. And as per usual, please remember, hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications, and also I stream every single night on twitch.tv/misoxshiru. So hopefully I see you guys there. But if not, hopefully I'll see y'all on the next video. And also, guys, before I forget, I have podcasts with Benji and Memo doing post Loa on thoughts this Saturday at 12 p.m. PST. So hopefully I see you guys there. All right, guys. Peace out.